This is Yvonne Sims. In this episode of Strong and Courageous, I'll be featuring Jamillah Tawwab, a unique young lady who is thriving in her calling. Now hear from Jamillah, how being unique has set her apart and allowed her to flourish.
My name is Jamillah Tawwab, and I think the word unique best describes me. Some of the biggest things that makes me different is the fact that when I was 10 years old, I started doing web design, and it was through my mother's company. It was called NC Connected, and basically she taught web design to girls, and I was kind of a part of that, and so I traveled with her all across North Carolina to teach to girls. We were at churches, different nonprofits. It was a cool experience, but it was definitely something different than what people that were 10 years old and above were doing. Most of them were hanging out with their friends, and don't get me wrong, there were times when I wanted to hang out with my friends, but, that kind of took precedent, and I'm kind of glad that it did because of the fact that it put me in a position where I kind of started school with experience that most of my peers did not have, and it taught me a lot of my business skills at an early age. So I started my own company called J Media Studios, and I started out doing websites for nonprofits and churches. That was pretty fun, and then I went off to college, and so that was part of how I made a lot of my money in college, because college you usually broke, and so I was still broke, but I had enough money coming in to where it worked out and everything. So I guess that's what makes me different. My mother, to me, is just the most important thing to me. I don't know what I would do without her. She's amazing. She's definitely the reason why I am the woman that I am today. I can't say that I would have gotten this far without her guidance, without her prayer, without her just kind of leading me, but still letting me have my own voice and letting me figure out who I am, but being there in the times when I need her most. My advice to younger women would be to say that work hard early, because when you work hard early, on the back end of things, you can kind of chill out and calm down. When you don't work hard early, you end up doing the work on the back end, but you never get away from the work. Either you do it on the front end or the back end. Either way, you're going to have to do it. So I would suggest that in your high school years and your college years, do the work that's necessary. Whatever that looks like to you, whatever field you decide you want to go in, go ahead and do as much as you can to further yourself as necessary, because there'll be plenty of work to do later. But if you go ahead and get the majority of it out of the way, when other people are kind of busting their butts, you'll be set because you did the work early when other people were kind of playing around. And not to say you shouldn't have, like a childhood and have, socialize and have friends, but just be clear on where you're going, because once you're clear, things kind of just fall in place. The main way that I stay focused is God, for one. I have to keep that communication open with him. I find that when I don't, I tend to lose track and kind of try to do my own thing, which always gets me in trouble. So I try to stay focused on him and to make sure that what I'm doing is aligned with what he has for me. And that's been a hard lesson for me, because you have the tendency to want to control things, or at least want to know, well, where are we going? What's the plan? What are we doing? And he doesn't always share that, because it's not really our business. He's got the plan. It's going to be okay. But I'm learning more now to trust him and kind of say, okay, wherever we're going, I'm with you, but I'm just going to trust you in it. But that keeps me focused. My mom keeps me focused, but when she's not around, it's God that keeps me focused. And also the vision that I have for myself. They're just kind of some no-brainers that I know that I want and I can see myself doing. And so, like, for example, I know the kind of house that I want one day. And so out where I work, they have very nice houses out there. And sometimes on my lunch break, I'll go drive. If I get discouraged at work or I get upset about something, I'll go drive in those neighborhoods and remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it helps. So little things like that. I would just say to stay true to yourself and don't let anybody change that.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Strong and Courageous. I'm your host, Yvonne Sims. To hear more stories of strength and courage, visit my website at YvonneSims.com or my Facebook page at Yvonne Sims. Until next time, beloved, be strong and courageous.